And welcome to another episode of Wrestling Bros. This is Big Baby Ben.
This is Judas Black.
A and B.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it tonight. As you see, our special guest back tonight to join us with the talks of top 5 little men in wrestling history. AMB, welcome back, brother. We love having you on, and we're glad you're back to have a chat.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday. Just got to hang out with family. So yeah, it's been a good few weeks. I'm looking forward to getting back in the ring though. So
Absolutely, yeah. We enjoyed some homemade moonshine on New Year's. Man, that stuff was good. Apple pie moonshine.
Oh yeah, what a night.
Sounds like you guys had a good time then.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. All right.
And the fans have already started AMB woot woot. They're glad you're here, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me again.
Yep, our fans absolutely love you, man. That's
Our video of the year last year. Glad to have you back. So we got a special topic tonight we want to talk to you about. The little man of wrestling.
Okay.
Some of your favorite little guys who inspired you. Some move sets of some little guys that you like, maybe. Anything about the little guy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, personally, in my opinion, I can relate to being the smaller guy. And I've looked up to a lot of them guys as well. Even as a child, when I didn't know what wrestling was, I looked up to guys like Jeff Hardy, Jerry Lynn, RVD, Loki, just some of the names, but growing up, like Rey Mysterio was my guy. Like he was one of my guys, I didn't really understand the whole cultural aspect of it till I got older, but you could tell he was something special. Just the things that he was doing in the ring and the energy he brought to the crowd. That's by far probably the most notable guy, being the smallest one in this business that's done the most out of anyone being categorized as big or small. Rey Mysterio's done it all. And that's just one of the guys I kind of admire the most, when it comes to being the underdog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of go around the board here, started our number 5s kind of, and then kind of work our way down the list.
All right.
And then we got a little bit of a rant tonight too. So you'll be able to join in on us with that.
All right. Sounds good, man. Let's do it.
All right. Big baby.
At number 5, I had Billy Kidman. The guy was very impressive. He was super athletic, and that shooting star press was just so nasty and so beautiful from the top.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very innovative for his time too. Kind of overlooked, just with the opportunities he was kind of given at times, but he can hang in there with some of the best. I didn't really grow up watching WCW, to be honest. Out of my age gap, but now with the network and all that stuff coming back, you got access to watching old cool classic matches like that, and it's pretty crazy to see some of the matches he's had in WCW now that I've gone back and watched them. It's pretty crazy.
Impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's really good for his time. Really good for his time. And I got introduced to him when he came to WWE with the short hair and stuff like that, and even then he was still putting on some pretty cool matches, like with Jamie in that little cruiserweight division. So that's like my era of cruiserweights. But yeah, no, that was definitely a good pick right there.
Absolutely. And number 5 for me, he's a little more current, known now currently as Bryan Danielson, but Daniel Bryan. I mean, when he was in the WWE, his era, the Yes movement, I mean, he just had the fans on board. I mean, I remember that one night when he had all the fans just pouring into the ring and the just doing the yes. And when he won those titles, the WWE Championship and the World Title and stuff, I mean, that it was just amazing to see that for such a small guy, for someone they said couldn't do it, and he proved them wrong. He proved everybody wrong. So yeah, Daniel Bryan's definitely right there on my list, at least at number 5. So
yeah, I would have to take a more modern pick. With my number 5, I'll have to say El Hijo del Vikingo. The dude is beyond his years, he's innovating pro wrestling in today's age as we see it. And to be able to see someone, and share a locker room for myself and be able to experience that like firsthand is pretty insane. Like the matches he's been having, he's everywhere, like all the big indies, all the big shows. He's getting featured on TV, and like that's just one of the guys. He's kind of like made the blueprint for a lot of smaller guys in modern day wrestling. So I'd have to go with Vikingo, man. He's something special.
Okay, all right, yeah. It's nice that we can have you on the show because you've also got kind of a peek in the background, of guys that we probably haven't even heard of, and
Right.
be able to mention them in the podcast will, kind of get their name out there some more too, just because the fans will hear this and they'll be like, oh, who's this guy? And then they're going to, type that name in and they're going, oh, he's pretty cool. Like, I'm going to start following him and see what this is about.
Yeah, for sure.
So, for sure, definitely. All right. Yeah, definitely. Big baby.
My number 4 was a guy that took bumps, but he was a little guy, Spike Dudley.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy just took some nasty shots, and he sold them so well. Like, there's no choice but to sell the moves that he took because they were just so bad. I had to go with Spike Dudley at number 4. Just he was so impressive for his time frame.
Yeah, he took a lot of bumps, man. Some crazy bumps. But yeah, he's very unique in his own ways.
Absolutely. I mean, he fit in perfectly with the Dudley boys, that extra little brother kind of figuring, and he was always there to back them up when they needed help, but he also took a lot of ass whippings from them as well. But he was there to entertain us, and that's exactly what he did, was entertain. So
absolutely.
And number 4 for me actually goes out to a tag team. Paul London and Brian Kendrick. Back in the day, man, they were the tag team. Like, those two could fly around the ring. I mean, that's A and B here. He kind of reminds me a lot of those guys back in the day. The way they just fly around that ring. They didn't
so
care
impressive.
They didn't care if they were small. They just moved, and they did what they had to hang on to their titles. And man, they just drew the fans in and filled the seats up every time they performed. So my number 4 goes out to them being the little men that could, for sure, in the WWE.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'll have to say the same thing, growing up in like the ruthless aggression era, like early 2000s, tag teams were a little slim. They had the cruiserweight division, with some of the guys that I had mentioned earlier, like Jamie Noble and that. But for tag teams, you had Los Guerreros at the time, Chavo and Eddie, and then you had Paul London, Brian Kendrick for a period there, and they made tag team wrestling so special to watch on SmackDown. So I would have to agree with that, and it's pretty cool to kind of like have a little bit of life moment right here and realization that Saturday I'll actually be sharing a locker room with Brian Kendrick and getting to meet him. So like that's just very mind-blowing for me. I'm still trying to wrap that around my mind, but it's pretty cool, to see guys that's kind of been labeled or like chosen as the underdog just because of the way they look, and then just to look at their illustrious careers, and like these are the guys we're talking about, some of the names we had mentioned. Vikingo, like I said, that dude, fast forward 10-15 years from now, you're gonna see his moves being transcended into the newer generation. He's something special, and that's how I felt when I was younger watching Paul London and Brian Kendrick. So I'll have to agree with Judas Black, man. My number 4 has got to be them as a tag team, just because for me personally, that's what I grew up on, is them too. So
absolutely.
And we got a fan comment real quick for AMB, Oscar Rodriguez.
Oh, how's it going, Oscar, man? Hey, thank you for that, bro. Hey, you keep up the good work too. You're always doing a lot of good stuff, and you're a very selfless guy. So just keep that up, man.
Thank you so much, Oscar. We appreciate your comments, and we love hearing from you. All right.
Number 3, the top 3 started getting really, really hard, and it started, just the list started shrinking. But for me, it's Jeff Hardy. The guy took some insane bumps. He put on insane matches. He's a world champion. No one thought he was ever going to be a world champion, and he was. He was Intercontinental champion. He was U.S. champion, multi-tag champion. I mean, the guy had an illustrious career. I mean, so shout out to Jeff Hardy at number 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad to say that. Yeah, that's a good pick, brother. I mean, Jeff Hardy, he had his problems in his career, had his issues and whatnot, and had to deal with them. It was in and out of the wrestling ring, back and forth to WWE. I think he did a stint with TNA and stuff like that. But he did give the fans what they wanted. I mean, they wanted a high flying, just all out match, and that's exactly what he delivered every time he was in the ring. So. Yeah,
All
Jeff
in.
Hardy's definitely a very good one. So, all
Man,
right. So, yep. Go ahead, brother.
I put some thought into this one, but I'm very adamant on this answer just because, like, for myself, kind of studying wrestling and watching technical stuff, for a smaller guy who was smaller, and stuff like that, Dean Malenko was
Ooh,
was amazing.
Oh,
The classical matches, of course, like the one with him and Eddie, the farewell match. There's a lot of sleeper matches though. Now that I'm watching WCW and stuff back, there's so many matches. Like almost every single match I've watched of Dean Malenko, I've took something out of it. A good example of that is William Regal versus Dean Malenko. Sometime on Nitro in '96, a few last year actually. Now, me and Chris the Wildcard Mercer were kind of just trying to one up each other, and I felt like I needed to pull something out of the bag, something that no one would expect. And Dean Malenko is one of those guys that no one expects what they see from him. You see him walking down the aisle. He's a short guy, a little square body guy, but he gets in there and he's doing the most amazing stuff. So Dean Malenko is my number 3, just because the transition to see where he's at now. He's never left the wrestling business and he's given everything to the wrestling business. He's definitely in my top 3 for small guys, Dean Malenko.
absolutely, absolutely.
got a fan comment real quick, if you don't mind, Judas.
Nope, you're good.
Oscar said I'd have to throw Sabu into this.
Oh, yes, Sabu, man.
So
He was
many,
more on
man.
the ECW end and everything. But man, that guy put his body on the line. He didn't care. He was all down to do whatever it took to win his match.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely agree with that one. So number 3 for me, kind of flashing back to like we were saying with Jeff Hardy, having his problems in his life and stuff, and he was this guy was kind of we lost him at a younger age. We lost him and his family all on a night. Chris Benoit. The man just didn't get enough props for what he was capable of and what he did in the ring, and I don't know what his problems were. I don't know everything that did go down that night, but man, you were a hell of a performer. You just wowed the fans, and you proved that you could do everything that you set forth to do, especially when it came to capturing the World Heavyweight Championship. So, my shout out, my number 3 is definitely goes out to Chris Benoit tonight.
Yeah, and that's a little like that can be tough for some people. And that's kind of sad to say. It's kind of overshadowed everything, the things that happened on that night. But yeah, no, like the things that he was doing, the amount of matches he put in, the time, the travel, stuff like that. Those things, as much as you kind of want to overlook them, as a wrestler, you can appreciate that in some way. And he put on some classical matches that will never be forgotten, until a certain generation gets older. He's always going to be, like you said, in someone's top 3. So, that's a good one, it's a good top 3. I like all of her decisions, by the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, big baby.
Number 2, this was really hard for my number 2, number 1. But I'm a major fan of Rob Van Dam. The guy was insane high flying, insane technical ability, springboard offense, turnbuckle offense. I mean, the guy could do it all. The guy could grapple. Impressive as hell.
Absolutely, man. And he's still impressive today. I mean,
Oh,
the man
still impressed, still getting it in
from time to time. And that whole
Yeah,
he was so over with the fans.
Over with the fans, had the perfect gimmick, and knew exactly what to do to get.
If you go back and watch Rob Van Dam versus Jeff Hardy in the ladder match, it's insane.
awesome matches. Like every time they wrestled each other, there was never a bad match between RVD and Jeff Hardy. Never.
Never.
No,
You know,
no.
it was cool.
Even in a regular singles match, it was still hella impressive. 4 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars, easy.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were fun matches, you know, and they were both very well liked. So the crowd it didn't really matter who they really liked. They just wanted to cheer. And that was like a good match all the time, whether it was on Raw or a pay-per-view or a championship match or a ladder match, you know, they just always like I watched an interview with him and he just said he liked working with RVD said he liked working with Jeff just because they like doing they thought the same way kind of. And I think that's what made their matches so cool. They always had different ways. Most people kind of would just figure something simple out to do something, but they always wanted to use their elements, you know, like Jeff would always do that barricade run and stuff like that. RVD would always find ways to use the turnbuckles in different ways that nobody else was. And it made them so much fun to watch because you didn't know what to expect. So
Honestly, yeah.
You know, and there was a match back in the day, you know, speaking with Rob Van Dam, when he faced my boy John Cena back in ECW for the WWE Championship. They knew that if they didn't give that title to RVD that night,
They were going to riot.
They were going to have a riot on their hands. I mean,
what's crazy is that pay-per-view. So like a little side story. I ordered that pay-per-view without telling my parents and then blamed my brother, my oldest brother, for ordering it because he would always order the pay-per-views. But that was the first time I ever seen Sabu ever. You know, he wrestled Rey Mysterio earlier on that pay-per-view. And then I seen RVD and Cena and then the whole Edge angle at the end. It was just like, what? That was like the first time I was like, what did I really just watch? You know, like it was insane. So like I'm very fond of that first one night stand pay-per-view because that was like hook, line, and sinker that had me like really questioning what I was watching, you know? So it was,
because I remember, you know, John Cena threw his shirt out there like 5 times and they just threw it back at him. I'm like, don't give us that. We don't want that junk.
And at the time, you know, like being a kid, I wasn't the biggest John Cena fan, but I understood like the whole WWE ECW thing. Just because I had VHS tapes and like DVDs growing up. But I was so shocked. I'm like, wait, this is our boy. You guys are supposed to like him, you know, like we're all one now. ECW's WWE, we're all one. You're supposed to like these guys. And it was just crazy.
Nope.
It was
Nope.
Yeah. Hell no.
They were 100% behind RVD.
Yeah, and nothing was going to change that. And it was fun to watch. Like even to this day, it's still cool to watch that pay-per-view for me, at least, you know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that kind of rolls into my number 2. I'm sorry, AMB, I got to give you a slot, man. AMB number 2. The little man that's proven to us, you know, since we started watching HAW, going to the shows, and when you've really proven to us that you can hold your own. I mean, man, you're holding the heavyweight championship of the company you're working for, HAW, and proving pay-per-view match in and out that you can do it, you can get it done. And so that's why I'm putting you in at number 2 tonight, because you just are a perfect example of the little man that just doesn't give up. So
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. You know, it's just wrapped up my first year in professional wrestling, and
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I still like it feels like it was just yesterday. And just kind of like reflecting back, you know, I had some fun experiences, got to share locker rooms with people I thought I would never even meet or let alone get to say hi to and stuff like that. So it's very cool. But 2024, you know, I'm like starting to understand that now that I have this championship, Theseus kind of made it known to me for the first time now that I have this, that, you know, there's a target on my back. And, you know, even though my first year just wrapped up, nobody cares, you know. It's time to keep going. So I'm attacking 2024 as hard as I can and just gonna keep fighting all the way until the end. And, you know, first year in, hopefully second year in, and many more to come, you know. So I appreciate you giving me the kind words, because I'm not gonna quit this dream, you know.
Yeah, see, your first year in, and I'm starting my first year ever.
So you know, it's a journey, you know. So I appreciate you being along for the first year, especially just because it's tough trying to get your name out there and establish yourself in the world of wrestling, you know, and credibility is everything. So it means a lot, you know, having someone just say that they appreciate the things that I've done so far and they admire the things I do. It makes me feel good. It makes me motivated to just keep going. So
Oh,
I'm
absolutely, man. And
honored
I'm
to
looking
be in
forward
this.
to seeing you out there on the road, man. Especially once I get started up in Chicago at CSW doing my training and stuff. I look forward to hopefully seeing you out there on the road. Maybe we'll be running paths across each other, you know, at some point.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a journey for everyone, you know, that can make it and get through, and that has the drive to do it, man. It's the funnest journey I've ever pursued in my life, and I plan on not slowing down for anyone. You know, 2024, I want to wrestle better people. I want to wrestle in bigger places, bigger venues, and just constantly challenge myself. You know, and I feel like every day, I kind of have to prove a point. So just to know that whether it's you or a few other people or just other fans that message me say that they appreciate this stuff, it really means a lot, man. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's your number 2 there, AMB?
My number 2 pick, man, has to be AJ Styles. AJ
Oh,
Styles.
phenomenal forearm.
Yeah. So my oldest brother, I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, and my oldest brother, he grew up watching wrestling. So I got introduced to professional wrestling just growing up with him. And I didn't know at the time there was anything else outside of WWE. And he would watch Impact all the time. Kurt Angle went over there. All these guys jumped ship. They went to TNA, and I didn't know what was going on. But as soon as I saw Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles as a tag team,
Woo!
I knew that was they were good.
They were good.
Yeah, there was something about AJ that just had me intrigued. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. And then, you know, they started like building towards these matches and stuff, the Ultimate X matches, and it just made me intrigued with TNA. And like AJ was my boy. Like I grew up watching WWE, WWF. Didn't know any other wrestlers outside of WWE or WWF wrestlers. AJ was the first one. And, you know, I got older a little bit going through life, and I was in high school. And my brother came home to my house one day and was like, hey, I'm about to watch the Royal Rumble, you know. I believe this was like 2015 or something like that, 2016. And he's like, AJ Styles is coming to WWE. I said, no way. You know, there's no way.
I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of sold me on that. And then the championship was on the line in the Royal Rumble. So it was like all these new things going on. I was like, man, maybe I should just tune in, you know. And then sure as hell, AJ Styles came out, and I'm like, whoa, dude, this is crazy. And like, even though I hadn't watched wrestling for a lot of years, probably like 3 years up to that point, it still gave me chills. And that was when I knew, like, yo, this is awesome stuff right here. And it meant something to me. So if it wasn't for AJ Styles, I would have never really kind of figured out what I wanted to do with my life, kind of figured out what I was going to do throughout high school. I was struggling in high school, and wrestling kind of helped me get through that. I was kind of getting in trouble and stuff, but as soon as I found wrestling and AJ was in WWE, instead of getting off the bus and wanting to go run around and hang out with people and just, you know, just get into bad things, I was running to go see AJ on Raw, you know, see where he was going to end up. And wrestling saved me from a lot of stuff growing up, and it's still saving me from a lot of things now, like even going into adulthood and everything like that. So AJ Styles will always mean a lot to me, and I really can't wait to meet him one day because I have a lot to say to that man. So
there you go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. AJ Styles, man, definitely a hell of a performer, and that's a hell of a pick. So,
yep.
Big Baby, number 1. Here we go.
You know, a guy that said, you know, that would never make it. CM Punk.
Okay.
He did.
I'm going to mute my mic for a minute. One second.
CM Punk.
I'm a Punk guy.
Yeah. Nah, I'm a CM Punk guy, you know.
Absolutely hate the guy. Not a fan of CM Punk.
Yeah.
I mean, this is long before I even, like started talking to Ben again when we were done talking once for a while. And my ex-wife liked CM Punk. And I was like,
There's something about him though, man. There's just something about CM Punk. He definitely was always against the grain.
Yes.
Everything he's gotten, he's earned it. As whether people want to admit that, man, he's earned it. But dude, that's one hell of a number one pick, man. CM Punk. We listed off a lot of greats, but CM Punk is a good one. That's a very good one. That kind of threw me off. I'm not gonna lie.
Wrestling Biz 29 says AMB would mop the floor with CM Punk.
That's right.
No doubt.
I would ask him a lot of questions, honestly, I would personally pick his brain. Like I just got to. He's seen it all, he's done it all, he's met everybody, he's been scrutinized for this, he's been scrutinized for that. Like I think he's like the blueprint of like, hey, is this right or wrong to do in professional wrestling? He will have all the answers, you know what I mean? So I gotta ask him a bunch of questions when I see him.
All right. Yeah, no, now that we're off the topic of CM Punk, my number one, we talked about him a little earlier, actually, Rey Mysterio. He is definitely the perfect example of that little man they could. He faced guys like JBL, Batista, the Great Khali, and he did it with no fear. That he did not care. And even though he got his ass whooped several times, he did manage to capture the world heavyweight title at one point as well, and prove that, he was a little man that wanted everything that any of the big guys could have, and he would do what he had to do to get it. So, Oscar Rodriguez says, I don't. I'd have to put Kurt Angle at my number one. Okay, yeah, Kurt
Okay.
Angle.
I mean, some of these names. So, like, to be fair, I guess we should have figured this out earlier. Like, what do we consider small then?
Small would have to be anything that's 200 and under, really, honestly. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we did have a couple guys in here. Like Kurt Angle was probably more in the heavyweight division, wouldn't he?
Right. Yeah. That's why I was like, okay, that one kind of. But yeah, no. So I just kind of wanted to think about that because I think my next one kind of might fall in that little thing. Some people might see him as a heavyweight now. Some people might see him as
Go ahead, man. Who do you thinking?
This might be a Mark answer to say, but dude, Will Ospreay, man, like he's one of those guys. Like again, I didn't know anything else outside of WWE. AJ introduced me to TNA and some of these other wrestlers that are like super big on the indies. Will Ospreay introduced me to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling in general. No specific person, but just that place in general. Like there's so much about it that intrigues me, and like when I watch.
Oh man, you would be amazing in NGPW.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, and like that's I don't know, like a lot of the strikes and stuff like that. I'm trying to learn things like that because they show so much emotion and like passion with what they do and stuff like that. So like,
did you see that Dolph Ziggler just showed up at NGPW?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's very interesting. That was kind of the last place I would expect him to go to, but
I was shocked.
I seen the clip, and I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be cool. So, and I guess his brother was there, so
yep,
that'd be interesting. It makes people want to see what's going on, But Will Ospreay, man, he introduced me to a whole new atmosphere of professional wrestling, whether that be New Japan or like the companies in the UK, and just all these places around the world. And to see how he was kind of labeled as like a small guy, a flippy guy, and all this and that, to see how he's over the years transcended his body, transcended the way he does things in the ring, changed things around. And now look at him, like people can't deny his ability when 5-6 years ago they were like, oh, this kid should quit the business, so it's pretty amazing to see. And I like guys like that who constantly get like spit on and just tossed away to the side, and then they come blossoming out of nowhere. And I think Will Ospreay is one of those guys. Like when I look at, my long term, like whether anything comes from this or not, I want to have that kind of like transcendence that he's had, to where when he started, he was brittle boned, just a kid. And then to now look at him now, he's a full grown ass man. He's challenging the best on the planet. And whether he's winning or losing, he lives and die on his pride. And sometimes that can be good or bad, but that's what makes him who he is. And the passion he exuberates when he's in the ring, it rubs off whether you're there or you're watching it through a television screen. I can relate a lot to the things that he's had to go through. Like New Japan had a little like mini documentary series when he first came there, and he was talking about like just how he was afraid because he was young at the time in the business and never really left home. You know what I mean? Never really kind of challenged himself in certain ways and he never thought about those certain things until he got to Japan, and they were real challenges for him. So to kind of just like see someone go through something that I also have those kind of same worries. You know what I mean? Like when I get to a certain point, I'm going to have to embrace a lot of new changes. And sometimes that can scare people. And, Will Ospreay's never been afraid of nothing. And like, he really is someone that I kind of look up to in the wrestling business, whether people like to hear that answer or not. It's an authentic answer. I'm not going to sugarcoat, or say that I like someone just because,
The man's talented.
He's very, very good.
He's super agile. The guy he's money.
Yeah. And I don't know, like he just always has a good mindset on how to kind of showcase his abilities, and he knows how to do that. And I cannot wait till I can even come close to being that type of performer in the ring, to just know my strong suits and stuff. So, I'm only going into my second year, but man, Will Ospreay is someone that, and just all these guys, like a lot of these guys, they're guys that I look up to, and I'm like, fuck, man, hopefully one day, like, whether it's good or bad, people kind of respect me in some way and kind of give me the credibility, because wrestling can be anything, it's so subjective. Like it can be comedy, it can be serious, it can be a competition, so and I think that kind of gets lost sometimes just with like Twitter and everything. Everyone's got an opinion and stuff. So but yeah, that's my top 5 for small guys, and I wouldn't change the list in any order or any names, just because each person has kind of introduced me to wrestling, so it kind of means something to me, each one of them. So
absolutely. And Oscar Rodriguez said Ninja Mac, and then says AMB needs to verse Ninja Mac, needs to happen.
I would love for that to happen. Ninja Mac, dude. Yeah, he's so crazy. He does so much crazy stuff, man. I don't even know if I could keep up with him, but we'll see one day. That's a dream. That might be a dream match further down the line when I feel I'm at his level. Ninja Mac, I gotta give him credit, man. I gotta give him credit. Every time I see something about him or a clip or something, it's just the most insane stuff. Like, how is he even doing some of the stuff that he's doing? He's a true ninja. He lives up to the moniker. He's a real ninja.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Big Baby, you said we had a rant tonight.
The Rock returns.
Oh, yeah.
And his last comment of the night was, maybe I should sit at the head of the table. A and B. Roman Reigns comes back this Friday to answer The Rock. What's going to happen here? I mean, as a wrestler, a champion, such a big name comes out and calls you out. How does it make you feel?
Well, you gotta kind of take it with a grain of salt. Roman's not a dumb guy, and he knows The Rock didn't come here for no reason. If he's coming here, he wants that championship, and I think that's a legitimate threat to Roman. And I don't think he's had a real legitimate like threat in a while. And I think he might be nervous. He has a reason to be nervous, so it's okay if you're nervous. But I don't know, man. The Rock he's different. The most electrifying man in sports entertainment. So him just making a little statement like that, sitting at the head of the table, captured so much attention, and
Over 3 million views in 24 hours.
Should I sit at a booth? Should I sit at the bar? Or should I sit at the head of the table?
yeah,
Oh man, he didn't just do that.
That's what I'm saying. He's not dumb. He's not dumb, and he loves the WWE. That's it. He calls that place home. Roman calls that place home, and I think there's a lot of pride between the two, and also because they are a family, I think it might make things a lot more interesting. And I think we have a WrestleMania match in the making already. I think they're planting the seed to send us there.
Absolutely, because now you got Solo and Jimmy and them, but they're gonna be like, what do we do here?
Yeah.
Oscar, where does this leave Cody?
Cody is I don't know. I mean, it's if the WWE wants The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, that's what's gonna happen. They'll figure out a storyline for Cody, or they'll just continue his story some other way. But
yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I think if he doesn't get a championship opportunity, just something I think would be awesome is to see Cody and Randy one more time, on a big stage.
Yep.
Especially at this point in their careers. I think that is something that if Cody doesn't get the chance to close the story, it's like there's that substance right there. That's just kind of like the way I'm kind of thinking, but I don't know. Cody's kind of lost in the shuffle at the moment, with the way
they did.
But can't you do night 1, Cody wins the belts, and then night 2, it's for the tribal chief spot?
If anyone can pull it off, man, it's WWE. If anyone can pull that off, it's them.
There was a huge bunch of crap going around Facebook saying that ultimately, The Rock doesn't need the title. He doesn't need a title to be relevant. But if they want Roman to go out without Roman's whole being a top dog up to WrestleMania, they could have The Rock cost Roman the title at one of the next couple pay-per-views, whether it be the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber. And then whoever wins the titles would face off against Cody. Let's say Randy wins it. Let's say Randy takes the titles at, let's just say, Royal Rumble, because The Rock costs Roman the title because Roman doesn't take The Rock serious. So The Rock comes out, costs him the titles, and Randy wins them, goes on to face Cody at WrestleMania. And then you get The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania for the tribal chief slot. And then, there was a lot of things going around that said they could go down a route like that and still keep Cody in the picture. They could still keep Roman in the picture. They could have The Rock in the matches, involved in the matches. Another one was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. That's definitely something that's kind of being spoke about. That is a good possibility. It's going to happen right around WrestleMania. So, thank you, Oscar. He said, "Great booking, Judas."
Good booking. Good booking. Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of spitballing right here, but
yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility. If The Rock costs Roman the titles, Roman still looks strong. He didn't lose to a clean win, to a clean loss or a clean win, whatever. And Randy will have the titles. He'll face Cody. We get the Cody versus Randy match. There's a lot of good options that could come out of that and still keep Roman looking strong until The Rock beats him. Then he just doesn't look strong anymore.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting what WWE's got going on right now. They're constantly, every week, they're pulling new stuff out their bag of tricks, and they're just, now that Triple H is kind of, in charge, he's really, you can tell they're putting the best performers out there for us. And, I can honestly say I haven't been more happier when I'm watching wrestling week to week, just because there's always something that happens, and I think with this whole storyline, whatever route they go, I think it's going to be something big. And I think the way they're kind of planting things right now, of course it's going to be probably Rock and Roman. But man, that's going to set the bar for everybody. in the world of wrestling and WWE. Like that match alone is going to set the bar, and it's going to be hard
It's
for
going
them.
to be sold out.
Yeah, and if something like that, something magical like that happens, it's like, just imagine what we're going to get in the next WrestleMania, So it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, I remember the guy that we were doing some training ideas with at one point. He tried to say, "Oh, you can't be a fan and be a wrestler." I'm like, bullshit, bullshit. You could still wrestle and you can still be a fan. I mean, you can enjoy the business that you work for and still also enjoy watching others perform and just putting their all out there to give you a good performance. So, what do you think of that, A and B?
I mean, things again, this business is so subjective. It's like anything else, like music, movies, anything like that. Those types of interests, those types of hobbies. There's lots of people that live and die by certain things and certain lifestyles. But man, like I enjoy everything that makes me enjoy life, or it makes me feel good.
Yep.
And the way wrestling had me feeling as a kid, it's okay to feel that way. As if you're pursuing professional wrestling, it's okay to be a fan and be a wrestler. I would say I don't see no fault in that, because we all love this business, and if we didn't love it and we didn't have any type of compassion towards it or any type of support towards professional wrestling or wrestlers, you wouldn't pursue that yourself. And yes, to a certain extent, this is your job. This is a way, you put food on the table for a lot of people. This isn't just a hobby for a lot of people. And I think it's more of that, like a mentality type thing, like the way your outlook is on the wrestling business and in general.
Yep.
And, if you have a shitty way of thinking about the wrestling business and you just show up to shows and treat people like crap, and, you just have a crappy attitude, like you're not going to get nothing out of it. And if you meet someone that you grew up watching and now you're in the locker room, that might be the only time in your life that you're ever going to be that close, or to even have a chance to communicate or say something or express yourself. So it's like, I don't see why sometimes that's a bad thing. But, there is a lot of people that kind of have their ways of thinking, and, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just so subjective that it's like anything. Like there's so many debates going on back and forth between everybody just because no one can agree to disagree anymore. And I think it's okay. Like, I mean, we just made a list of small guys and we didn't go back and forth over it, and it's to be able to just be open-minded and just understand, like, when you're in the wrestling business and you're meeting people, there is a certain way you have to act and, handle yourself, but everyone's still a fan at heart. So I don't know where that kind of comes from, but it's a sad thing that it still kind of gets told to people in this day of wrestling, because everyone's supposed to be out here trying to help each other, even though it is competitive and can be cutthroat. This business thrives when everyone's helping each other. So let's just all have fun,
Absolutely.
That's honestly my take on it. I've never really been asked that or didn't even know how to answer that. But yeah, that's like, if you enjoy it, just enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oscar Rodriguez says, "Hey guys, got to shoot out. Time for bed. Got a long weekend ahead. Wrestling with Bros. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Oscar. We much appreciate it. And A and B, I feel like I gained another brother in you, and with your heart, sky's the limit. So thank you, Oscar.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Oscar.
Absolutely. All right.
A and B, man, you've made a major impact on Wrestling with Bros. So I want to give my shout out now to you, brother. You won. I got an email from YouTube, and you won our video of the year, and I sent that to you. And I'm very proud to meet you, man. And it's been an honor for all these podcasts, for you to come on and for you to promote us. And us promote you and to come watch you live, man. You're fucking awesome in the ring. Like you get the job and you sell it. You sell every bump. I mean, you're just all. And then the work you did at the hospital for the kids at St. Judas, I believe.
Yeah,
It's
St.
just-
Jude's Children
Yep.
Research Hospital in Peoria, Illinois. My hometown promotion. We did a little fundraiser show to help raise toys for kids in need, and me and Leslie LaMuneka, one of the talents here in the Chicagoland area, she did a hell of a job getting people to donate toys. Like she literally had from the floor to the ceiling stacked. She was sending me photos and stuff. It was amazing experience, and it's like things like that. I would have never been able to do something like that if it wasn't for wrestling. So it's like, that's a special
absolutely.
moment.
All right.
That's my wife.
A&B, if you
Just
have,
bringing in his dinner.
A&B, when you guys do shows like that, once I get on the road here and stuff, and I start doing my training and I get trained enough to be able to start entering the ring, definitely let me know when stuff like that's going on because I would love to have a part in it. So.
Yeah, of course, man. It's a something special, and it's like I kind of struggle with being put in those situations just because, like, I don't know, it's a sad moment, it's kind of a sad, somber time, but to see the smiles on the kids' faces, that was all worth it, It didn't matter how I was feeling in that moment, So yeah, it's always a pleasure to just have people, that want to do stuff like that. So I mean, you're more than welcome, just whenever you're ready and you get through that training and just pursue with it. That's like one of the things. Just stick with it. Everybody's journey is different. It might take you 3 months to learn something when someone else might take them 9 months. You just got to be graceful and be patient. And as long as you got those two qualities and be coachable, those 3 qualities will take you a long way. At least it has for myself. And I try to work on those outside of wrestling anyway. So I think it's just helped me in the long run. So you're more than welcome to come along on those trips, man. Just whenever we have one, I'll let you know.
Absolutely. I mean, no, yeah, no, because like I listen to WLLR, the radio station down here for country music every year, and they always do the St. Jude's marathon thing that they do every year to collect money for the kids at St. Jude, and I listen to it every year. And I haven't donated recently, but I did donate for about a year and a half to St. Jude's. I donated $20 a month on their program thing for about a year and a half. And some of them stories, man, they just that they tell on there, kids that passed away and that didn't make it because they just didn't have a cure for what they had. Just really breaks your heart. Like it just really breaks you down and tears you apart. And so, St. Jude's is a good cause. They are a good cause to donate to. And I will tell that to every fan out there. If you have the chance to be able to donate, do it because it is a good thing to have. St. Jude's for the kids. So,
but A&B, you're meant to do this, man. You're meant to be in this business, and you're meant to be here.
absolutely.
I see amazing things from you, man. You are meant to fucking do this.
Thank you, man. It's I've kind of just doing my best. Like
you're doing good. You're doing amazing.
I can. So just know that means a lot, man. This is something I always wanted.
Don't think that once I get trained, if you still have that belt or you have a belt around your waist, once I get trained, I'm coming.
Yeah, man.
I'm coming for you.
Find you, dog. But yeah, no, dude. No, seriously, man, that means a lot. Just because, like, not many people really get the chance to even get close to pursuing something that they want to do. Just because life happens, and sometimes a lot of people just don't know, like, where to seek the right people or the right resources. And I've been very fortunate enough since 2019 to be able to kind of get slapped in the face every time when I'm starting to doubt myself with a new experience. I either meet someone who sees something in me that I don't see in myself, or I know I have a drive to do something and I just don't have the right resources, and someone is usually there to either help me guide me through that to get me there, or I end up figuring it out. And, I crashed my car when I started my training in 2019 and I totaled it. So, and I kind of just like was burnt out mentally from there. And it had nothing to do with pro wrestling, but it had everything to do with everything else. And I just kind of was like, yeah, maybe that's all there is to it. But to like, again, reflect back on this last year, it literally changed my life, So to hear that someone sees that I truly belong in that ring and that I'm doing good, doing the best that I can right now, and they can see that, it means a lot, dude. So.
Yep, absolutely. No, same shout out here. It's same thing as Ben was saying. That's it goes to you, A and B, because man, you just have brought a new light to this podcast every time you're on here, man. And we just enjoy sitting down and having the chats with you. We know you're a busy man, can't be here all the time, but when you're able to join us, we greatly appreciate it, and we're looking forward to the show on the 13th for sure. So.
Yeah, man. Honor Among Wrestling will be at Bettendorf Community Center, January 13th. It's going to be a crazy show. Honor Among Wrestling has been very good to me and my family. They put on great shows. They have wonderful fans, a great talented roster from top to bottom.
Thanks.
Yep.
Probably one of the most favorite places I've ever been in my first year so far in this wrestling journey. Every show is always something different, and the crowd, they always appreciate what we do. Whether we're the ones taking the ass kicking or we're giving it, at the end of the night, man, everyone comes up and they love wrestling so much, and they're happy to have Honor Among Wrestling in their community. So to be able to be the guy who has the championship, to be the one on the posters, and to be the one to kind of like help that company out in ways that I thought I never could. It's added pressure to me, but it again challenges. It seems to me whenever I start leaning towards not being comfortable, I learn new things. So 2024, I'm looking to do that. So Honor Among Wrestling, January 13th. No matter who they put in the ring, I will be walking out with this championship still. And any other promotion that I come to, I want to face the best. I want to face whoever's in that locker room who has the most credibility. And I want to prove to everyone, like these guys feel and like some other people have told me, that I belong in this wrestling ring. I want to prove that point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah.
Well, it comes to that part of the show where we're going to say our goodbyes. This is Big Baby Ben.
Judas Black.
A and B.
We appreciate you joining us tonight, A and B, and this has been another amazing episode of Wrestling with Bros.
I appreciate you boys. Thank you so much, man.